And greeting air acolytes and hotmen everywhere. Welcome back to Breaking Wind, a Last Airbender podcast. I am your host, Jason Roy Gaston, and with me as always, the one, the only, thank goodness, VHS Jace. And today, it's a double episode. Well, I mean, you're getting one episode of this, but we got two episodes of that. That is The Boiling Rock, Part 1. And if you have not deduced, we're going to talk The Boiling Rock Part 2 also in this episode. The Boiling Rock Part 2, Rock Harder.
Just the title, though. This show has some really great, interesting titles that kind of incite imagination. This title, not so much. What's it about? A boiling rock.
Well, I mean, if you don't know what the Boiling Rock is, it does have that question. And then later on in the episode, you're like, oh, a boiling rock. Little on the nose, but I'll take it. I mean, what else were they going to call it? That's Rough Buddy Part 1? That's Rough Buddy Part 2? I would have been fine with that, personally. Okay, so let's get into things. This episode opens up with Zuko. He is now officially a team of Team Avatar, and he's trying to ingratiate himself by doing the only hospitable thing he knows how to do, and that is serve tea. Something he learned from his uncle, who is still absent from the series, strangely enough. But there is something up. And that is Sokka is asking questions. Hey, do you happen to know where the Fire Nation takes their prisoners? You know, for no reason. I'm just curious. Well, Sokka's planning a rescue mission. He's planning on rescuing his dad and everybody else. And, well, of course, Zuko being Zuko figures it out, and he intercepts him before he's able to steal Appa. And the two of them go away on the guise of hunting. They're going to go hunting meat. But it's actually a Zuko and Sokka team-up mission.
It's a buddy cop film.
Yes, they've taken the war balloon. And they are on their way to where Sokka's father might or might not being held, which is a prison called the Boiling Rock, which is in the middle of a boiling lake. And that's why it's called the Boiling Rock. It's not like School of Rock with boiling water. It's just a boiling rock. I love this scene right here, this awkwardness between these two. And I love that it's not one-sided, that it's both of them feeling awkward, both of them feeling, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? What am I doing here with Sokka? What am I doing here with Zuko? And of course, we get the legendary. Yes, we get the legendary line from Zuko when Sokka says, my girlfriend turned into the moon. Sokka responds with, that's rough, buddy. It's hilarious. It's hilarious not only in the fact that Zuko says it, but Dante Bosco's delivery is just so spot on. Because not only is it genuine, Zuko is actually saying, that's rough, I'm sorry. But he also does it in like, that's rough, and I don't know what else to say. So I'm just going to say, that's rough, buddy.
But it's so imperative, I think, that this relationship is all that is let go, because what they're about to embark on, any of that awkwardness just to go right, you've got to be in sync.
Yes, you do.
It's important these guys get along.
Well, and I think it's also another testament to the fact that Sokka is a born leader, and Sokka recognizes this without anybody prompting him to. He knows he needs Zuko at this point. Zuko knows he needs Sokka. Sokka wants his dad, Zuko wants acceptance. They both want something, they have a common goal, and they're going to get it. Incidentally, just call Sokka and Zuko Launchpad McQuack because they crashed the war balloon into the boiling lake. And, but you know what? Any crash you can walk away from is a good crash, particularly whenever it involves a boiling lake. What a great location for a prison, by the way. Just the imagination of this series never fails to impress me.
You know, on a whiteboard, they've got a list of every location they've done and every idea. And at this point, if I saw that board, I'm like, well, we're going to give up. It looks like we're going to have them somewhere. It's a whole new, fresh, little angle of the Fire Nation that I thought was awesome.
Absolutely. And Yep. So with no other recourse to them, Sokka and Zuko go undercover as guards. I also have to give the art department credit for this, because given how much these guards look alike, they keep Sokka and Zuko very distinctive. And I have not figured out how they've done it. And I don't know. I'm just in awe of how...
A little bit of an altered skin tone, maybe, and height.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to go back and look at it, because I honestly did not even think about it until that moment. But every time there's a lot of guards in the room, I'm always able to pick out who's Zuko and who's Sokka. So, yeah, great job, artists.
I think Zuko is far more, especially his body language, far more stoic, and only moves when needed to. No, Zuko is, but Sokka is a bit out there occasionally.
Occasionally, yes.
But something, he might jump back, you know.
But we are introduced to, let's just call it a wild card at this point, and that is a prisoner. And I had his name a second ago, and I will be darned if I lost it, because I'm a very irresponsible young man. But this is a prisoner who is being held in the cooler, because apparently getting cold keeps you from firebending, which I think we've seen that before. You know, there's a technique called the dragon's... Not like this. Not as punitive. No, not like this. Not punitive, but it has been put out there before that cold does, I don't want to say cancel out their powers, but it does at least mute them. Makes a lot of sense too, to have this type of an isolation cell in the Boiling Rock, by the way. So I thought that was really good.
The prisoner, before he was getting taken in there, said the line, Jason, "You're not sending me to the cooler.
You're not going to send me to the cooler." I don't know. You're going to have to ask A.I. Arnold about that. You're going to have to ask A.I. Arnold. By the way, everybody, this Joker over here has a TV show called, a YouTube show called Talking Tubi. He's doing it solo. I'm not a part of it, although I am an avid watcher because I'm a huge fan of it. If you have not seen it yet, you should. I'm going to throw a link down there. I'm throwing a link on every single one of our videos, so if you're ever down there and like, what the heck is Talking Tubi? Don't ask questions. Just click on it. A.I. Arnold is the best thing about it, and also he's there.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. It's not alone. I am joined by A.I. Arnold. But as you'll see if you watch the episodes, our relationship's a little bit complex.
A.I. Arnold hates his guts.
Yeah, he's really mean, and I'm not happy about it. And I run the show. I don't know. Anyway.
I'm still looking for this dude's name. Sorry, I just Hadoka? Is that it?
I don't know.
Is it Hadoka?
The big guy. The guy, the cooler guy.
No, Hadoka is a different character. Oh my gosh. How could I forget who he was? Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyway, let's just call him prisoner number 1.
Yeah.
Prisoner number 1 is he's a wild card. He will come into play later. Right now, Zuko delivers the bad news to Sokka that Sokka's father, Hadoka, is not in the prison. And I really like this scene because Sokka put all of his heart into this, and
with
you
no
kind of get the
evidence.
you kind of get the feeling that he believes that he's failed again. And they communicate that without saying it. And I love that. I absolutely love that about this show. But for every how did Zuko put this? For every dark cloud, there is a silver lining, like a sandwich. So take a bite. And who happens to be in the courtyard? It's Suki! So yes, Suki is here at the Boiling Rock. And of course, Sokka's sweet on Suki. Suki Sokka, Sokka Suki. Yeah. Boy, that's a heck of a name. Do we call them Soki or do we call them Sakuki?
I don't know, but I feel like you keep saying it. We're getting into the realm of offensive language. And
we kind of are. So let's just call them Suki Sokka or Sokka Suki. Even that sounds bad. Let's just call them Sokka and Suki. Couple names are stupid. Yeah. Couple names are stupid, and you shouldn't be introducing any J's. So anyway, Suki's there, and they're going to break Suki out. Sokka reveals himself to Suki, not in that way perverts. He's just like, hey, hi, it's me. And so Sokka, sorry, I almost punched you in the face. Did she punch him in the face? I think she did. Which was
I think it was a shock for both of them showing up.
It was a pleasant shock for both of them, and it was, I don't know, I like when characters are reunited on this show, because it always feels earned. It never feels disingenuous. You know, yes, very much so.
Little moments like that get you even more connected to the show because you've been on that journey, you've seen that character, now they've come back. So it's really smart writing because it just makes you love even the side characters a lot because you never know when they're going to return.
Yes, I just enjoy this show so much. Just every single time I watch it, I get happy. I don't know. Even in the dark episodes, I just get happy seeing these characters interact with each other. I'm still surreptitiously looking for this character's name, and I'm sure it's got to be here somewhere.
I keep looking. Yeah, the other thing I think is amazing about this show is the fact that I can't even think of a time where I was disconnected, like from the episode, where I was distracted or where my interest started to wane. It just doesn't happen with the show. It happened with the live action series, if I was to be really honest with you. But the animated show, absolutely not. It has remained to be just enthralling from a storytelling point of view, let alone the visuals, which have improved throughout the series. Like,
it has.
It looks amazing, right? It never looked horrible, but it looks amazing. Point.
It really does, especially with the character of Chit Sang, the name that I knew the entire time. Yes, this character, this prisoner, Chit Sang, who I've known the name of the entire time. Yes. Zuko is found out, and Sokka makes the, I don't want to say difficult decision, but he makes the decision to arrest Sokka and put him away so that the entire mission is not compromised, which again, Sokka, great very leader, smart. Great decisions. He's not a buffoon. He's a very smart person. And, the warden. Oh, the warden sucks.
Yeah.
Great.
Not exactly a happy guy.
Great villain, a great antagonist, just one of those people you just love to hate because he lives to hate. And we also find out that it's Mei's uncle. And so he's got it in for Sokka. He does not like this boy at all because he broke his niece's non-existent heart. Love Mai, by the way. She's great.
Yeah, he doesn't love Mai. Yeah.
So, Sokka introduces Suki to Zuko.
What a great
forgetting
show.
That they've met.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
So much awkwardness in this episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of awkwardness happening in that moment.
Lots of awkwardness. I love it, though. But again, nobody does the expected thing of, I'm going to get you, Zuko, when you least expect it. And then, has that mess up the escape. No, they're just like, oh, yeah, you captured us, but we need each other right now, so I'm not going to say anything. I like that level. I don't know if I'd really use the word maturity, but it is maturity. So why not? I'm going to use the word maturity.
I just love the way he handles things now, Zuko.
Very much so, yes.
Because he has to face up to all that. He has to face up to all the bad stuff he's done.
Chit Sang, the character whose name I've actually known the entire time, hears them talking about an escape, and he wants in. And so they decide that Chit Sang and Zuko should get into a fight because firebending is forbidden in the prison. And so when Zuko firebends, he is sent to the Kula because that's where you send bad boys. But unfortunately, this bad boy wanted to go there the whole time because he has another mission. He's nuts. He's going to get his hands on some nuts. He's going to take those nuts and he's going to unnut them. And he's going to make the cooler loose from the structure, I guess. He's basically dismantling the cooler. Yeah. Because they're going to use the cooler to escape the boiling rock. Because the coolers are insulated. And if they're insulated against the cold, they'll be insulated against the heat. Which, again, smart plan. They're going to use that to boat out of the lake. Which it sounds like a plan that would not go bad at all.
It's just so rare just to have just logical and smart writing in an animated show like this. Because even when I hang out, I'm like, that totally makes sense. That's what you got to do. I wouldn't have thought of that. Genius.
Yes. However, everything that could go wrong does go wrong, and at the last minute, Zuko tells Sokka, hey, I overheard some guards talking, and there's some Water Tribe prisoners on the way. Your dad might be in that group. Oh my gosh, we are ready to go. WTF is going on here? So Sokka decides to stay. And of course, Suki and Zuko stays with him while the other prisoners escape and screw up the entire plan, because the whole thing about don't stick your hand in the water was apparently too hard for them.
Yeah.
Chit Sang sticks his hand in the water and screams out, and that alerts the guards that somebody's escaping, and they are taken back into custody. And it's just a bad thing. And as they're watching the Water Tribe members get off the boat, Sokka's dad is not among them, and he's absolutely devastated. Until, at the very last minute, Sokka's dad appears. He's on the island. Finally, a ray of hope in a hopeless episode. If you'll excuse me, I now have to cough.
It's also an episode where it kind of is a lot stronger because of the episode we're just about to talk to. Like, I don't know how it would have felt just seeing this and then having to wait another week to see the second part we're talking about. Because, it's a good episode, but it isn't the best. Becomes the best as we get to see the whole story. But
well, if it helps your anxiety about that, this was aired as a double episode. So nobody had to wait. Yeah, nobody had to wait. That's why it's packaged as a single episode on Paramount Plus and on Netflix. Yeah.
That Paramount Plus, they live by their own rules.
Yes, pretty much so. But anyway, they didn't have to wait, and neither do we, because we're going to talk about The Boiling Rock, Parte Dos. Parte Dos. And anyway, Sokka's dad is on the island. I'm going to call him Sokka's dad. He does have a name. I said it a little while ago, but I've already forgotten what it is, because these names are somewhat complicated for a dumb American like me.
They made him look a little bit weaker, didn't they?
They did. And the warden, of course, taking advantage of that. Kiss my boot, stupid Water Tribe guy.
Wow.
And then Sokka's dad is like, no, I'm not only Sokka's dad, I'm your daddy too. And he fully humiliates the warden in front of everybody. And of course, again, helps establish Sokka's dad as a character, reminds us that he is not somebody who bows down. He is the resistance, la resistance. And in the cell, Sokka comes in, and father-son has a reunion. It is a great, wonderful moment. But there's another reunion. May has come. It's gonna be May.
And like just awkwardness now? Is it just one scenario of awkwardness to another? Poor guy.
Maybe they should have just called it the Awkward Boiling Rock, because this is just like, there's so many awkward reunions in this episode. But yes, May comes to talk to Zuko, and she's got that Dear John letter in her hand, and she's not very happy about the way that she's been treated. Yeah. And you know what? I agree with her.
Yeah, me
Zuko
too.
was kind of a coward.
Yep.
But then again, Zuko's also scared of her, and I would be too.
It's one of those scenarios where you can see both perspectives, but essentially her perspective is stronger than his. That's what I'm saying. But I'm choosing May's side on this.
Yeah, one. But you know what? I agree with her. Yeah, Zuko did her wrong, and she is valid in her feelings, and that's why here in a minute there is a shot in this episode that I think is so effective. And I really hope that the picture did upload. I was just checking to make sure it was there before I hyped it up. But there is a moment in this episode, and it is a brief moment, but I think that so much is said in that brief, wordless moment. And it's just great, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but we have to keep going, because it turns out that Chit Sang, I just like saying Chit Sang, is being tortured at this moment, because they want to know who helped him who helped him with this plan? Who else was in on it? Because he's too stupid to come up with this on his own. And so he decides to basically help them because he doesn't like being held upside down. And so all of the guards are taken out into the yard because Chit Sang is going to finger the right guy. Wow, that sounded really bad. He's going to point at the person who helped him, and he points at not Zuko. He points at this poor schmuck. He's like, that's the guy that helped us.
I did feel for that guy. I
did too, particularly with what's coming later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or should I say who's coming later?
Yeah.
Because this, we'll talk about that whenever that happens.
Yeah.
But there she is. Yeah.
Oh.
You know, you always, I've never seen a character who is so expected and yet not expected. You kind of forget she's a character. You don't really forget she's a character, but you forget that she's involved in the story until she shows up and she's like, surprise! And then you're just like, oh no.
Going on. There's always so much going on with the show. So take it apart and you're too locked into what's happening there. And then boom, she comes back when you least expect it.
And she brings... I'm sorry, go ahead.
That picture there, that was an example of talking about how the animation is amazing. Look at that. That is gorgeous, the way they blur the background slightly, how well she's drawn. It's just like,
the character design on Azula is great.
You would pay big money for some of the original cells. I would.
I definitely would. I'm pretty sure they're all in a museum right now. And you know what? They belong in a museum. Every single one of them. Even the ones from the Great Divide. Anyway. They need to have a distraction so that they can basically escape on the gondola now, because the gondola is their new plan. If they can get on the gondola, they can use it they can ride it out, and they got to take the
gondolier out of here.
They've got to take the warden hostage so that they can safely ride the gondola and get as you said, get the gondolier out of there. Yeah. And so they have to start a riot, and of course, it's one of the great comedic deal breakers is, you with the ugly face, I'm going to kill you. Hey, that really hurt my feelings. Aren't you mad? Well, yeah, but I'm working on my violent tendencies. But yeah, leave it up to Chit Sang. He starts a riot with this poor guy. Incidentally, Chit Sang, watch your hands. I'm just saying.
Yep.
That is, you need consent first.
Yep.
So
I don't think he's really concerned about that at that point in time.
Not really, especially with the riot beginning, and there's a commotion, and Zuko takes that moment to slip around the guard and Mai, slam the door and lock it, and then that moment, boom, right there. Holy hell. Holy moly, Zuko, you're a dead man. So much is said. I don't even think it's up there for a second. It's just this split second, they just kind of lock eyes, and you just see that look. Because right there, it's saying anger, but there's also hurt.
Yeah.
There is hurt right there because she came to try to salvage things.
Yeah.
And he literally and metaphorically slammed the door in her face. It is such a great moment of interaction between two characters where no words says so much.
And it's one of those situations where in that moment too, you're like, well, it's just, I don't think Zuko means it to come off like that, but she's fully justified in feeling like that. So it's one of those circumstances that has been created, but it's almost unavoidable to get to that point because of their relationship.
I fully believe that this is one of those situations where both characters are right and both characters are wrong. It's one of those things you could root for either one, but in this case, I'm rooting for Mai because Zuko, you're a coward and you should have talked to her face to face.
Yeah, I just think it's a lack of emotional maturity and something you can't expect out of him. He doesn't even know who he is yet. He's still learning to who he truly is.
No, you are absolutely right. Emotional immaturity.
His behavior, though. Doesn't justify his behavior.
But anyway, strong women characters. Continuing that theme, Suki captures the warden single-handedly. Who needs
You're gonna
bending?
have
I am a
some fun.
fist bender. I'm about to fist bend your face.
So true, eh?
I cannot for the life of me think of who the warden reminds me of. He reminds me of a celebrity. I was thinking Mick Jagger for a second there, but I'm like, nah, I don't think it's Mick Jagger, but it just reminds me of somebody. So if the warden reminds you of somebody, comment below, because I'm seriously like, I'm racking my brain trying to figure out who this guy reminds me of.
I just told you who he looks like, but
I wasn't listening to you. I never listened to you. Who does he look like? Who?
Machete.
Does he look like Danny Trejo?
A little bit.
He does.
A little bit.
He looks like Danny Trejo. Warden, don't get taken hostage. Yeah, okay, I can see it. It looks like Danny Trejo. So Danny Trejo is taken hostage. He's taken aboard the gondola.
If they don't cast him in the live action, if they don't cast him in that role, oh my God, I'm going to write a really nasty email.
Well, it's going to be kind of hard to explain why Danny Trejo, a Hispanic Latino man, is the uncle of an Asian girl. But you know what? Who cares? Do it anyway.
Yes, who cares?
Yep. So the Sokka squad is on board the gondola, escaping when what to their wonderful eyes should appear but a miniature girl tiptoeing across the gondola, the gondola cable. And some other crazy girl like rocketing over. Oh my gosh, it's Azula and Ty Lee. They're on their way and they're going to end them all.
You think in that crowd at the bottom, only one of them saw who that was, and then they've got. I mean, did you see that? And then by the time the rest of them look around, they're not there.
Yeah,
that
it was
poor
great.
Person is being accused of being a liar now and have a life.
So we get. I could have chosen hundreds of stills from this fight. I chose only a couple because I knew that if I kept choosing stills, this would take hours. Yeah. But we get a very nice fight, a rematch between Suki and Ty Lee, and then we get a rematch between Zuko, Sokka, and Azula, all staged wonderfully. And Avatar does not sleep on its fights. Every single fight is always original and exciting and everything. In the middle of this, the warden manages to untie himself, and this guy who you think is going to be the sniveling coward, I gotta hand it to him. The dude has some cojones because he sticks his head out of the window and says, "Cut the cable!" Because he wants, he don't care if he goes down with them. He just wants them all dead.
Crazy.
I love that. I'm sorry. Yeah. I love that because I was just expecting him to be a coward, but no. No, he's just like, no, wipe them all out. Kill all of them. Wipe them out. All of them. And so they start cutting the cable. And yeah, everybody's about to die. But then the cable cutters are cut themselves because who should show up but Mai? Mai stops them. She stops them. And Azula's not happy about this. And as Team Sokka is getting away, she confronts Mai, and she's about to kill the heck out of Mai because Mai saved Zuko and Sokka and everybody, betrayed her. Great line. Great moment, great line. Let's just say I'm more in love with him than I am scared of you. Mai. I did not know you had it in you. And
this episode didn't need this scene to be so great. It's just like, this is like excellence on top of excellence. It's just like, we've taken a right turn, but I'm so happy we're here because I want to see what happens right now. It's a great scene.
In this episode, just when you think it's done weaving, it gives you another. Because right when Azula is about to fry Mai, Ty Lee steps up and paralyzes her. And you can see the look on her face like, oh crap, what have I done?
She's even shocked she's done it.
I know. But yeah, Azula's down there on the ground. She's like, take him prisoner. Oh my gosh. Mai and Ty Lee are now prisoners of the Fire Nation. Just like that. Just everything's turned on its head, and you're just like...
the whole dynamic of everything now.
Yeah, the whole dynamic on its head. And this has actually started something for Azula. This is the beginning of something very important for her character whenever her closest allies are not her allies anymore.
Yeah.
This is Azula's slow slide into where she ends up at the end of this series. But anyway, enough of the twists and turns. Group hug. Daddy's home.
Yeah.
Episode's over. Holy moly, that was a lot. Thoughts?
That was a lot, but it was worth it. It's an unbelievable episode. And then, like you said, the twists and turns of where we're going. It's just so exciting to watch a show where I don't know where it's going. Like, it's just so fresh to be able to go in and just when you think you know something, the show turns around and goes, no, you don't. You don't know what you think you know. And it's just, I just don't know how much higher can the stakes go with this show. But I think I'm going to be proven wrong here. I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And an episode that was really great with being aimless.
Yes.
Aimless episode.
Yes. No Aang, no Katara, no Toph. Oh my gosh, how did we survive so long without Toph?
Exactly.
Toph is my girl. But yeah.
Yeah. But then when you watch the episode, you go, oh no, this was a necessity, this episode, at this point in their journey. Like, I reckon they've done such a wonderful job here. The writers at this point are on autopilot because the structure and the things they put in place, it's almost like they don't have to come up with new ideas. The story is telling itself at this point. Just because so much has been set up prior. Brilliant.
Yes, and the brilliance continues on our next episode because we're going to be looking at an episode called The Southern Raiders. And it sounds boring, but it is actually one of the darkest episodes of the entire series. Because we see a character cross a line that we did not think this character was ever going to cross.
Wow. Whoa, you set that up big. Okay. Well, great. Well, you know what I'm watching after we sign off here.
I'm jumping on the TV myself, and I'm going to Roku that sucker up, and I'm going to watch the heck out of it. And I encourage you to do the same thing as well, as I also encourage you to check out the video description below to see how you can support us here on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. There's the graphic right there. I couldn't find it. You can support this stupid thing that myself and VHS Jace do. We have a lot of fun doing it, and we will continue to have a lot of fun doing it. And honestly, we don't care if you're having fun or not. We're just going to keep on doing it because we're sadists that way, and we're quite selfish as well. But not selfish enough that we won't guarantee you a good time here on Breaking Wind, a Last Airbender podcast. Could have called it the boiling prison, or the steamy prison. Steamy prison. That would have been a completely different story, though. The steamy prison with Team Suki Sokka.